The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. These are the words of the patron saint of heroism, Joseph Campbell. And Matt Langdon, at the beginning of the conference, introduced us to Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey pattern. This cycle that has occurred throughout time, throughout the stories we've told throughout the ages. We tend to think of heroism in the modern world as being purely an external act. We think of soldiers running onto a battlefield. We think of first responders running towards a crisis to help people. We even think of everyday average citizens who we maybe see on the news, and we see them stepping out of their ordinary lives just for a moment in time to rescue someone from a burning building or from a car accident. But what we need to remember about the hero's journey is that it's a metaphor, not just for external heroism, but for internal heroism as well. Because every hero's journey starts within. Every hero in the stories we love that we've heard all our lives, they start out as reluctant heroes. Think of Frodo in The Lord of the Rings. He was reluctant to go and leave. So was Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit before him. But at some point, they had to turn and look within and find the strength to be heroes for themselves. And to be a hero for yourself is something that's very personal to me. And you need to be a hero to yourself when you suffer from mental illness, especially. And let's define mental health. Mental health really is anything that diseases your mind, your heart, your soul. So for me, when I was 33 years old, a monster came out of my cave within. Because in that quote from Joseph Campbell, the cave is us. The cave is within all of you and me. But what's the treasure that Campbell talks about in that quote? The treasure is self-discovery, self-mastery, self-determination, peace of mind. When I was 33 years old, I had been ignoring a monster within my own cave for a very long time. It had been fed over the years by mistreatment that I experienced on the home front and in the schoolyard. I was bullied mercilessly, and that led me down a path of self-criticism. That inner critic was really strong. That monster within me was being fed. And then over the years, with ignoring it and letting it grow stronger and feeding it on my self-doubt and self-criticism, I was 33 years old, and that monster ripped its way out of that cave. It took possession of my life, and it almost tore my life down. I would go out on manic flights of fancy with my bipolar disorder that I wasn't yet diagnosed with, and I would leave behind the people that I loved and forget about them and just fantasize about how incredible I was, because that's what the monster was telling me. You're number one, Anthony. No one else matters. It's your story. Do whatever you want. It took seeing the pain and the anguish on the faces of my family for me to snap back into reality, to fight off that monster long enough to realize I needed to go into the cave within, finally, once and for all. And if you're here, you're thinking maybe you don't have a mental illness, but you do know someone who does. And mental health really is the effects of bullying, the effects that we have from trauma in our life. So in some way, your life is affected by mental illness, and you struggle with mental health in your own way. So I want to give you some advice from my own hero's journey. I'm 42 now. I just turned 42 this past Friday. And I'm here to share with you the wisdom I've gained over 9 years of being on my own hero's journey of mental health. And I want to prepare you all for going into your own cave and finding your own treasure of mental health. So the first lesson I want to share to you from my journey is, we've talked about this earlier from some of our other speakers, mind your mentors. As a matter of fact, go out and find, then mind your mentors. Listen to them. Matt, when he talked to us earlier about the hero's journey, he used the example of Harry Potter. Who knows the name of Harry Potter's old wizard mentor? Dumbledore. How about for Dorothy? She had a nice witch that was helping her? Glinda, the good witch. Find your mentors. Think about it right now. Who is a mentor in your life? Who can you look to? For me, it was therapists. It was trusted friends and family. You have people you can go to. No hero's journey can start without hero mentors. You have mentors. You need to go and find them and mind them. Listen to them. Because trusted people in our lives are mirrors. They are mirrors for us. They help us see ourselves clearly so we can begin that journey. Second piece of advice I want to give you is accept the adventure, because it's not always sunshine and roses. But the challenge in life is there to make us appreciate the bad times. We appreciate the good times when we go through the bad times. And spoiler alert for any of you younger people, if you haven't seen Star Wars yet, the original trilogy, spoiler alert, you may want to cover your ears. Luke Skywalker goes on an adventure, and it's not just all about blowing up Death Stars and meeting space princesses. Luke Skywalker goes, meets his dad, and his dad cuts his hand off. That sucks. But that is a story that reminds us that the hero's journey is not just all about the highs. The hero's journey is about accepting that there is contrast in life and there will be lows in your life, but you can learn from them and you can rise above and conquer them. So accept all the parts of the adventure, the highs and the lows, because that's what I had to do. For a long time, I was a zombie in my life, and I was just walking through it mindlessly. But we need to be present and accept it. Third, and perhaps the most important, let's go back to that monster again. You have to go into your cave and you need to confront that monster, but not with a sword, not with a pitchfork and fire, with an embrace. Because when it comes to mental illness, no matter what shade it is a part of you. Carl Jung talked about the shadow. You need to integrate that shadow self, that part of you, into yourself. Because there's no way you're going to excise it completely from your life. You need to embrace it, and it's like a petulant child. It just wants to be understood. It wants to be listened to, which I had been not doing for most of my life. You need to pull it and embrace it into yourself. Accept it. Say, I understand your pain. And that's how you will conquer your monster. There's another patron saint I want to tell you about as I close. His name's Dr. Phil Zimbardo. And Dr. Zimbardo talks about the bystander effect. He warns us about the bystander effect. The opposite of a hero isn't a villain. It's a bystander. So I want to encourage all of you in your lives, don't be a bystander to yourselves. Don't stand by and let whatever monster is inside of you take control of you. Don't let it get so strong that someday, like it did for me, rips its way out of its cave and comes to consume you. We talk about external heroism. And those of us who suffer with trauma, if you've been bullied, if you have depression, if you have bipolar disorder like me, and if it's caused pain in your life, you are not broken, you are not damaged, you are not irrecoverable. But you do need to be a hero to yourself first if you want to do great things in the world. And that's what I want to encourage you, all of you today. When you leave this place, be a hero to yourselves so you can be a hero to the world. Thank you.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.